Ah, yes. I remember. Hello. It's I, Sherlock Holmes, once again. And like I said, I will return for another review. Except, ever since my very first review, it was about Clue. So this time, I decided to revisit the franchise. So for those of you who haven't seen my old Clue and Cluedo review, you should stop this video right now and go on and check out my Clue and Cluedo review. Okay? Yeah, have you seen it? Then we can start. So, for those of you who are not familiar, Multi-Voice Reviewer is a huge Clue fanatic, for those of you who don't know. And what I have here are instructions from the game. For those of you who never played the Clue game before, brief instruction. Now, the reason why it was called Cluedo in England is because in Britain, your game you call pot cheesy. Well, here in England, we don't call it pot cheesy, we call it Ludo. Means to play. So when they made the game, they call it mystery to play. And according to this, there's a man who goes by the name of Mr. Botty. Or in Cluedo, he is called Dr. Black. He was murdered, but nobody don't know who killed him and where and with what. So it's up to you to play one of the suspects, explore every room, and guess what weapon they used it. And you have to make a suggestion saying who killed him, which weapon they used, and where did it took place. And you play 6 suspects. Professor Plum, Colonel Mustard, Mr. Green, or in Cluedo we call him Reverend Green, but I guess here in America they don't want a holy man be a suspect. But in England, everyone's a suspect. Mrs. White, Mrs. Scarlet, Miss Scarlet, I mean, and Mrs. White, the maid. And of course, there are 6 weapons. The knife, the gun, the rope, the wrench, the lead pipe, and the candlestick. Of course, there's a lot more rooms, and you had to explore them. This is one of the instructions. Clue got so popular that they made puzzle games. A puzzle game where you put the puzzles together and solve the crime. Series of Clue books that you can read and solve the case while reading. And of course, inside these books, there's a detective notepad in this. Sorry. Made a couple of video games. The first one, I mean, there's a lot of PC games of Clue. But the very first one they made for the game system, Clue for Sega Genesis, Clue for Super Nintendo. Oh, instructions. Game manual. They have a Clue game along with other board games on the Game Boy Advance. And the Nintendo DS, which Multi-Voice Reviewer have none of, sadly. And of course, back then when VHSs were made, before they decided to put them in the game system, back in the 80s, they made Clue, the VCR mystery game. And it got so popular that they decided to make a sequel. Clue 2, Murder in the Skies. And instead of the usual suspects, like these 6 here from the VCR mystery game, there's more. They put 4 more suspects in this game. Miss Peach, Madame Rose, Sergeant Grey, and M. Brunette, also known as Monsieur Brunette, because he's French. And then sooner or later in 1985, the year Multi-Voice Reviewer was born, they made a movie. Clue. It's not just a game anymore. Starring Christopher Lloyd, Michael McKee, Tim Curry, and Madeline Kahn, and among others. And of course, back in the 90s, Britain made their TV series game show / opera called Cluedo. But of course, on every season, they made about 4 seasons of them and 1 Christmas special. They kept changing actors. This one's from the first season. Sadly, I don't have any pictures of the ones from the other seasons. This one's from the Christmas special. And this one's from the 3rd season, with Tom Baker as Professor Plum. Who thought Doctor Who becomes one of the suspects. Oh yeah, I also forgot. Even they made one for PlayStation 3 and Wii. There's a Clue game in this one, except this one's called Family Game Night, where you can play other games in it. This is part 3 because it has Clue in it. I have to say, Multi-Voice Reviewer just cannot resist. Anything it involves with Clue, he's into it. Even a bunch of PC games. He has one made back in the 90s, with live people starring in it. .3D in 1989, and then they made something extra. Final Illusion, Clue Chronicles, where you go in this ship and you go to New York, and a lot of weird stuff starts happening. And they also made this one, a board game. It talks, Clue FX, where you play 4 investigators, Miss P. You play Miss Peach, Lady Lavender, Prince Azure, and Lord Grey to investigate. And of course, they made this one, except it doesn't have nothing to do with murder, but it's theft. Clue DVD, where you can play it on your DVD and a board. And all these are the suspects now. Prince Azure, Rusty, Mrs. Meadowbrook, and Lady Lavender. And of course, there was another board game that sadly Multi-Voice Reviewer don't have, and he wish he has, where it has over 50 mysteries involved, and it's up to you to solve them. And except you don't solve them in a home, you solve it in the streets. Called Clue Mysteries. Something that Multi-Voice Reviewer loved to have. And of course he found something that got his interest. Of course I was lucky to bring this one out because it's made of tin. The box is. Clue 50th Anniversary. He has the Anniversary Edition. And they also made a Clue show for kids, a mini-series called Clue, where all these young kids are no longer suspects, but a group of people trying to solve this huge conspiracy mystery. And they're all linked somehow. I've seen the miniseries, and they're not bad. They're from the Hub channel. I wonder when they're going to make their second season of that show. And of course, the VCR mystery game Clue got so popular that they decided to make a board game and a computer game after it, called Clue Master Detective, with the same suspects. With 10 suspects and more weapons. Now this is a weird one. Even Multi-Voice Reviewer has a thing for Dungeons and Dragons and got this. Dungeons and Dragons 2. Who killed the Archmage? In this one, the Archmage gets murdered, and a group of Dungeons and Dragons characters are now the suspects. You had to find out who killed them and where and with what, and you had to watch out for claw marks. Watch out for claw marks on the floor. Each claw marks summons a monster you have to battle in the game. And it's a board game. Another board game they made where now Clue are no longer suspects, but spies. Clue, Secrets, and Spies. Where now Mr. Body goes by the name of Ancient Black, is a rogue agent, and all six of these agents had to figure out who is rogue and who isn't, and have to find a way to capture him. They even made a modern day version of Clue, where they all have first names. Cassandra Scarlet, Jacob Green, Jack Mustard, Dana White, Victor Plum, and Eleanor Peacock. When that game was around, they made this on your cell phone that you can upload and play. Clue phone game. But sadly, Multi-Voice Reviewer don't have a cell phone where he can play this game. But there was another Clue game that he uploaded that he tried. Clue Bingo. He tried it, but didn't get the hang of it. He'd rather solve mysteries than play bingo. Ah, yes. Another thing. There's even Clue, the Great Museum Caper. This one he downloaded on his tablet. The Clue app game, which he seems to love it a lot more. And this one's based by the current board game made lately, where Mrs. White's not here, but replaced by this woman. Goes by the name of Dr. Orchid. An Asian an Asian American doctor who specializes in chemistry. But the one multi-voice reviewer really would love to have is the first edition back in 1949. That's where it first came out in America, of Clue, in a tin box. This is one Clue game that he really loved to have, along with this from England. Clue game made back in 1947. This is what it originally looked like back in 1947. Here's something I wish I loved to have. I'm kind of flattered they made this one. Cluedo Sherlock Edition, where Sherlock Holmes is one of the suspects along with Watson. Along with my brother Minecraft, and Lestrade, and Mrs. Hudson, and also the woman herself, Irene Adler. Oh yeah, this one appeared on Belterra, the Clue slot game they made. Now, he enjoyed playing this game until they're no longer around anymore. It's been removed because not many people played it. But he had played it on his Facebook game until it's no longer there. They removed it and replaced it with Monopoly. And even they made some grab-and-go Clue game, like the travel one. And of course the two grab-and-go ones, the one in the green box and the other one in the green box and the other one in the black box. Multi-voice reviewer couldn't resist it, but he got the box from Clue Candy and ate the candy. He even got himself his own keychain. Multi-voice reviewer is a Clue fanatic. He just loves the game so much. And he also collected these. Clue toy cars. Here's what Miss Scarlet's driving. Colonel Mustard, always a military man with a military jeep. Mrs. Peacock in her fancy Cadillac. I think it's a Cadillac. No, it's a Ford. Mr. Green's car. And Professor Plum's. And they also made Clue Jr. for the little kids. No murder involved, just theft. That's all. You know, they've been a lot of stage musicals they made. They made Clue the musical lately. And of course, plays about Clue based from the movie. And rumor has it that they're planning to do a remake of Clue the movie. I don't know when, but it's still in production. So, who knows? I guess Mr. Body just, don't know when to stay dead. You always keep killing him. And I'm always the one to solve it. 'Cause I am the eye that never sleeps. Well, this here is my review of Clue. Oh yeah, and also a multi-voice reviewer did remind me, he also have Clue Scooby-Doo, where all the Scooby-Doo characters are playing the suspects. Except for Mrs. White, she's her own suspect. And he also got himself a Simpson one as well. I don't get that show, Simpson. I mean, it goes like ba bum bum ba bum ba bum ba 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 bum. But he would like to have the very first edition and the first Cluedo edition, and also the Sherlock. I would love to have one. Well, I gotta go check on Multivoice Reviewer. I bet he's still playing that Clue game on his tablet, as always. So, doesn't mind if the world's greatest detective play with him. I might get the hang of this Clue game. So if you excuse me, justice never sleeps, and the eye never blinks. And this will be the last of my review, because I'm afraid I have to leave. But I heard that there is this British character who's going to show up. He's going to be reviewing some British comedies for UK month. So this will be the last of my review, but I will return, but not for UK month, but to review more mysteries and Sherlock Holmes stuff. Just for you folks, if you still want some more. So, for those of you who love this Clue review, please leave a comment down below, hit like, and subscribe. So, see you fans soon, and thank you for bringing me here. Since I was out from the books, I think I'm gonna like this modern time. So, later. I'm gonna solve a case, and I got John Watson as my partner. No, wait. I think I got this. I'm gonna solve a case. I got multi-voice reviewer as my partner. Hunting, looking for a common. This is bloody awesome.